everyone, and welcome to this information video on Talk to the Entities. And I am joined by one of the most beautiful people that I know. I haven't even got words for her. Sometimes every time I look at her, my world just becomes a better place. Liz, hi.
Hi, that's so nice. Thank you.
And true. And we are going to be putting a lot of Talk to the Entities information out into the world. I became a Talk to the Entities facilitator in July. And I would say both of us struggled with, first of all, not knowing what we were aware of. And second of all, I would say the judgment of the difference that we are in regard to the spirit world. So first and foremost, we're talking about the spirit world. And we're talking about some of us have massive capacities to hear the spirit world, and it is something that is completely rejected, considered crazy, considered insane in this reality. Yeah. What would you like to talk about today?
Well, I'd just say, like, I'm one of those people who didn't consider that I had a capacity here. Like, I know a lot of people grow up and they're aware that they're aware of these things, but I think I must have pushed it so far out of my world that I didn't even know that that's what I was aware of. And then even when I became to access consciousness and I started to become more aware of what I'm aware of, I still never acknowledged that entity awareness, because I always just thought, well, it's just whatever that is, it's in my head, or I'm making it up, or it's just my imagination.
It couldn't be real, it couldn't be true. This couldn't be real, this couldn't be true.
Yeah, I couldn't possibly be aware of that, or
Totally. And I do want to address with this that doubt is something that we call a distractor implant, a distractor implant. And doubt is actually that you are not present with no point of view. And there's so much judgment in doubt because it distracts you from being totally present with what you know and what you're aware of. So one of the things with Talk to the Entities is that we are talking to entities that are not in a body, and they still have an energetic existence, a physical, a vibration, we can call it. And a lot of us that have capacities to talk to these energies, we decide that there's something wrong with us, we're weird. And for me, you just reminded me of this, up until 2012, until I did my first Talk to the Entity class, I still had the point of view that I was crazy, I was fucked up, and probably bipolar, something wrong with me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love, the cool thing about these classes as well is that, just like everything else, like the way that you perceive these things is so different than the way anyone else does. And I think the other mistake you could say that I've been making before is I thought that entity awareness was like the way other people did it, like the way other people described it and the way they, the downloads came to them. Like I thought, well, if I had entity awareness, then it would be coming to me like it's coming to them. But it doesn't work that way. Like you have to know, or you have to get that awareness of what it is for you. That is my day one of my first Talk to the Entities beginning class, I finally got what it is for me. And I was like, wow, that's not what I thought it was going to be.
And I love what you said, because definitions and projections and expectations can be very severe on you when you have a reference point or when you have a projection of what it looks like and what it should look like, because it's so different. And it can be different for me in different areas. And, sometimes for me, it can be massive tiredness. My body will be like, ugh. And then I'm like, hey, is this an entity? What am I aware of? So it is such a gift to yourself to start to ask questions. We would highly suggest that you buy Shannon O'Hara's Talk to the Entity book, where you navigate. If you open that book, that you will start to navigate a whole new world, a whole spirit world. And yes, entities are just like people. You have some very stupid ones, you have some brilliant ones, you have some ones that have no idea what they're doing. And remember, they are the entities that we're talking about here. Liz is an entity, I'm an entity, the flowers are an entity. We are talking about energies that no longer have a body, and that they are stuck in a time and a place and a job. Might be attached to a mosque. I'm in Turkey, or might be attached to a house in London, you know, and they cling their energy, the molecular vibration of what they are, to a building, because they genuinely, it's like in the movie Ghost, they genuinely, number one, may not know that they're dead, and then the evolution of using the tools. And I'd like to finish today really asking you, what impact did it have on you when you weren't acknowledging your capacity with entities? And then what changed for you in a way that was more positive and light for you, when you did acknowledge what you were aware of?
Well, I'd say, even though I had these tools of like, who does this belong to and all that kind of stuff, I think there was a lot of stuff that was my entity awareness that I was buying as mine, or it just gives me more information, more information to work with. And it's actually, it's just opened up a whole new world where all sorts of things can talk to you. It's not just about like, people think of ghosts and things like that, but like, all like the spirits of the earth and objects and houses and places and all that kind of stuff can start to talk to you, and you can receive from them in a whole
And
different
phones,
way. So
mobile phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's referring to a magical story I had where my phone saved my life recently.
Do you want to tell the magical story? Because I have this sense like that I'm not letting people know the magic when we don't talk about this.
Yeah. And you know what is funny, because at the time I wouldn't have said my phone was talking to me, but it was afterwards that I realized it was, and it opened up a space of like gratitude for my awareness and for the things in my life that are contributing to me, even when I don't acknowledge and know that they are. So what happened was I was driving in my car, and I looked down at my phone, which you're not supposed to do, but my sat nav hadn't turned on. I just left my house and was with my kids and taking a journey I hadn't made before, and the sat nav didn't turn on. So I was going to slow down to stop at a red light, and I took the time to look down and press the button. And strangely, when I looked up after just like that couple seconds, the light had changed, which it doesn't normally change that quickly. And I had that moment of like, I should have stepped off the gas and people are going to be annoyed behind me. And when I did look up and saw the light change right after that, a car just zoomed through the red light in front of me in the intersection. And if I hadn't been looking at my phone, I probably I could have been killed. And
your kids and your beautiful twins too.
Yeah. So and then afterwards, it wasn't until later that day that I was just like, realized like the beauty of get this phone pulling my attention, and that I was so grateful for it and for its contribution to me, even though sometimes like I get annoyed with it if it doesn't do what I want it to do. And in this case, it was a massive contribution. So yeah.
And I personally love that story, because if you're going to look at the world of the spirit world, there's so much judgment and projection and rejection and on it of what it looks like. The thing that I would love everybody to know is that it's going to be different for you, and this is your way of talking to energies, talking to entities. And for me, a lot of the times I will get a hit to go somewhere or to talk to someone or to call someone. And that's really, I suppose, overall it's about managing energies, and it's about really growing your life in a way that allows it to become greater. This is what this is about.
Totally.
That your life becomes greater due to the capacities that you have. So we invite you to check out, for me, I'd be dead, only for talk to the entities tools and the classes. And we invite you to come out of judgment, come out of rejection, come out of reaction. Imagine if someone is looking to talk to you and you're like, no. I never do that. No, I'm not looking at it. I'm not talking to this. I'm not giving it the time. I'm not doing my office hours, which we'll talk about another time. And it's where you actually drop your barriers and you allow yourself to not separate from a whole world of entities and spirits, and everything has a bit of structure to it. And for me, that's really what this is all about, is the capacity, the ability to have no exclusion of all energies.
That's awesome.
Thanks for being with me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye for now, folks. We hope you enjoyed this.